Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to have Christian Mickelsen, a leading authority on personal development and coaching. He's the author of 5 best-selling books, including Abundance Unleashed and Get Clients Today. He's the founder and president of a multi-million dollar coaching business that's won Inc. 5000's fastest growing companies in America award 4 years in a row. He's a personal coach for 25 years. He's helped hundreds of thousands of people all over the world experience the life-changing power of coaching. And he is on a mission to get the whole world coached. And that's why I'm talking to him today to help spread his message and share it with you. So let's dive into this powerful conversation with Christian Mickelsen. Christian, thanks for being on the show.
It's an honor.
Yes. I'm excited to talk to you, man. We've been friends for a little while now, maybe a year or two, I think. And since the moment I met you, I always appreciated and admired your generosity and also your natural, abundant, energetic, the way you show up in the world, which is what you teach. So I want to share more of that with the listeners too.
Yeah, of course.
But let's start with a little bit about your background. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your story? I know you have a pretty inspiring and background. Can you share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Um, yeah, was I felt like I had all the, plenty of social life because I have two older brothers and an older sister, my mom and my dad, and then I had my best friend was my next door neighbor. And when my parents got divorced when I was 9, a couple years later, all those people moved away. My two older brothers are older than me. They both moved out of state. One of them permanently, one for for a few months. My dad moved out of state for a little bit. My best friend moved out across town, and all of a sudden, went from having a lot of people in my life to having no one around me. And I was walking down the street one day, and one of my older brother's friends saw me and started talking to me, and he handed me a book. And I was like, well, I'm going to read this book so I have a reason to come back and hang out, and talk to somebody. So I didn't, no, it was summer and like I had no friends, nobody around. So I read, I don't know if this was the very first book, but one of the books I read was Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. Great book.
Mm-hmm.
Read it, liked it. And then I was like, I'm going to, go back. So now I have somebody to talk to, talk about the book, handed me the new book. We hung out for a little bit. And so it was just like, I'm just going to keep reading these books. And he was feeding me personal growth books, spiritual growth books. And I loved it all, some stuff I loved more than others, but like it helped me see what I like. And I've been studying personal growth ever since, basically since I've been 12 and I'm 51 now. I turned 52 this year. So it'll be about 40 years that I've been
Wow.
studying personal growth, going to seminars. I've traveled the world with Tony Robbins and his platinum program for several years. I've gone to the pyramids in Teotihuacan, Mexico with Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of Four Agreements. I got to do the work of Byron Katie with Byron Katie up on stage. I got to ask questions of Abraham at an Abraham Hicks event in 2002. You name it, I've probably done it. And, all that stuff is good. It's all good stuff and it all helps.
That's incredible. I love that. I love that you started your journey with books and you just kept going and you met mentors and invested in yourself and training and coaching and you're still doing it, right? It doesn't end.
Absolutely.
Nice. Very cool. So you grew up around money and struggles and conflict. A lot of people have. I grew up around a little bit of that too. Not as much as you based on what I know about your story. But how did you rewire your beliefs to create a life of abundance?
Well, it's not a one moment thing. It's an ongoing process. But I have some really great tools which I'll share with you guys, with everybody here, with the audience. Um, but one of the things is, my parents got divorced. They fought about money. They got divorced. Now our money situation's worse. I grew up on food stamps and welfare. I had to stand in line in the poor kids line at school to get a free lunch, which I never, which I hated those lunches, and I hated being in the line. Honestly, I felt embarrassed and ashamed to be
Mm.
there. So I had a lot of, angst around money. I felt like money was set up wrong. Like somehow, like people, it should just be easier for everybody, one of the things that people say, which is true, there's research on this, which is, if you win the lottery, most people who win the lottery end up in the same or worse financial situation than they were before within like 3 years. It's like 80 something percent of people. And also people lose weight and then they gain it back. And my take on this is that if you want to be a millionaire, you need to become a millionaire on the inside. And if you want to become thin, you got to become thin on the inside. If you just become thin on the outside, you're just going to bounce back and you're going to end up getting overweight. If you just become rich on the outside, you're going to end up right back where you were and you're going to end up being poor again. So for me, I had so many limiting beliefs about money. It's not fair for some people to be rich when other people are poor. That's something I used to believe, and probably a lot of people might believe that that's true. Now I realize, like, we're rewarded according to the value that we create in the world. Some people complain that athletes make these, tens of millions of dollars a year when a school teacher only makes, tens of thousands of dollars a year, or and it's like, well, that's not fair. They're doing, no, it is fair. It really is. Like we live, if you're in capitalist societies, we live in a very fair society. Actually, it's because the value you create in the marketplace is the reward that you reap. People complain about, like, oh, it's not fair that, like, the people at McDonald's, like, they can't work and support a family working at McDonald's. It's like, well, why should you, like, if you should be able to support a family on being able to flip burgers. Like, that's a skill practically a monkey could do, right? If you want greater rewards, don't be like, hey, McDonald's, start paying us more. You got to be like, well, how do I create more value than that, right? The thing that anybody, or scooping ice cream. It's like, oh, those are jobs for high school kids. Those are not jobs for 50-year-olds to support a family of four. If you want to support a family of four, you need to upgrade your skills and upgrade your ability to make a contribution to a business or start your own business or to the world in general. So I don't believe that anymore, that it's not fair for some people. It's now, if people are being kept down, there are some challenges within our society. I think the biggest one is just our school systems are, like, funded. If you're in a rich community, then all that money goes to the school. They take a lot of that money goes to the schools. You have a nicer school. There's definitely some issues there, but bottom line is, you can't control the wind, but you can control the sails. And, everybody can get rich. Everybody could be rich if they wanted to be, if they decided to be. I remember, many years ago, I think it might have been Brian Tracy said something like, if you want to be rich, if you want to be a millionaire, you don't just hope to be a millionaire. You don't wish to be a millionaire. You don't dream to be a millionaire. You decide to be a millionaire. And so, I made that decision and I was like, oh, I decided I want to be a millionaire. Well, it didn't happen in 1 year. It didn't happen in 3 years. It didn't happen in 5 years. It didn't even happen in 10 years, but it did happen. And that was another thing that I don't remember if it was Brian Tracy or Tony Robbins. One of these people was like, the time's going to go by no matter what, right? The decade, however long it takes, that 10 years is going to go by, and either you're going to be 10 years in the same place, or you're going to be 10 years and be much closer, or all the way to where you wanted to be. So, in terms of, like, working through these limiting beliefs, a lot of the beliefs come from fears. And one of the things I learned from one of my favorite authors and mentors, David Hawkins, is that when you heal one repressed emotion, then you resolve tens of thousands or even millions of negative thoughts. And, I studied NLP and hypnotherapy. Like I said, I've been studying this stuff since, for almost 40 years now. And, but the thing that helps the most is not working at things on the thought level, but working at things on the emotional level. One of the things that I discovered is that all of our fears are fears of feelings. Everything we think we're afraid of, we think we're afraid of a situation. So years ago, in the early days of my coaching business, I was afraid I was going to lose my house because my income would go up and down. I was like, I don't want to lose my house. And I'm like, why am I so afraid of losing my house? Am I going to become homeless? I don't think so. I could sleep on my, brother's couch or rent an apartment or even if I'm homeless, I'm like, imagine being homeless. Like that isn't the thing that's scary to me. I'm like, what the heck is so scary about losing my house? And I realized it was all the shame I felt when I was poor as a kid. I felt ashamed that I was poor. And I was like, oh, if I lose my house, then I'll be poor again. People will see me as poor and I'll feel all this shame. So it's not usually what we think is going on, but all of our fears are fears of feelings. And if you can find and heal and release and resolve those feelings, then you can be free of so many of these limiting beliefs.
Absolutely. And this reminds me of the event that I went to of yours, Heal Your Money Shit Now, which is an amazing event for what you just talked about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, one of my events, Heal Your Money Should Now, obviously we focus exclusively on healing money for 3 days. And we use a variety of techniques. Like I said, I've been doing this for almost 40 years, studying this stuff for almost 40 years. And I have never seen anything, resolve stuff as fast as the stuff that we do at our events. And so, my stuff, to me, I'm like, I feel like our stuff's the best. And so I'd love to invite everybody before coming to Heal Your Money Shit Now. There's a 1 day event and I want to give it to all your people for free. It's called Total Time Transformation. And in it, the event will teach you how to accomplish twice as much in half the time and, eliminate overwhelm, and feeling stressed and procrastination, all that stuff. It's going to help get you in alignment, make you much more productive without a whole lot of teaching the how to. It's really rewiring yourself to be far more productive. And when you talk about like being able to make a bigger contribution to the marketplace and to the world, this is an event that helps people do it. So if people want to go to that event, it's just they can just go to totaltimetransformation.com and they can just come to the event. And if they like that 1 day, then they can come to the Heal Your Money Shit Now as well. So
That's awesome. Thank you so much. That's amazing. It's very generous. I'm going to
yeah,
make sure, I'm sure there'll be I'll put a link in the show notes for people to join that.
great, great.
I'm curious, you said, when did you decide to become a millionaire? Do you remember?
I mean, probably in my early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And became a millionaire. I, it's funny because I don't know exactly what year, but I would say it was in my mid to late 30s probably. So it took me about 10 or 12 years, whatever, some amount of time before from deciding to it actually happening.
Yep.
You know, and there's a lot of milestones along the way. I mean, there's going from making 40,000 a year. As the most I ever made at a job was $35,000 a year. Yeah. And I remember when I made it was
What job,
30.
what job was that?
I worked at a manufacturing company. Yeah, basically it was terrible. Maybe it was 36, 35, 36,000, some basically 35,000 a year. And yeah, but so, and then my coaching business, when I started my coaching business in the early days, even though it was struggle early days, I was making around, 35, 40,000 a year, but I had taken on all this debt to start this other business before my coaching business. So that made things extra tricky.
Mm.
But when I started making $100,000 a year in my coaching business, like I felt so rich. And then when I started making $250,000 a year, I felt so rich. I'm like, I'm making so much money. I don't even know what to do with all this money. And I had some stuff to heal. I felt very uncomfortable all of a sudden making so much money. I don't even know what it was, but I had to let some shit go. Most people are afraid not only we have fears of like, oh, if I become homeless or whatever, but many of us have fears of the things we want. A lot of us are afraid of being rich. It's like, oh, if I'm rich, people are going to judge me. They're going to think I'm arrogant, pushy, manipulative, that I don't care about people, that I'm a jerk, whatever. Like, I don't know, like things that people think about rich people. I'm like, I don't want people to think those things about me. Like, or maybe I thought unconsciously those things about rich people. So I had to heal a lot of stuff to become, to get richer and richer. But yeah, I mean, there's levels to this stuff. Making 250,000 a year was amazing. Getting my business generating $1 million a year was like that. I remember my girlfriend at the time, she was like, "We're gonna have a party to celebrate that you did 1 million this year." I'm like, "Oh my!" I'm like, "Okay." So we had our friends over, and we, had champagne toast. Mine was non-alcoholic champagne because I don't drink, but and so I still have that video from however many years ago that was. So, but that's like making 1 million in my business isn't the same as making 1 million personally. To make 1 million personally, you got to profit $1 million. So that's another level of success. And then to be able to have a business that generates $1 million a year or more in profit, that is a whole nother level of awesomeness, you know. But all those things are possible. Yeah, it starts with the decision. And I think there's the secret to success comes down to two ingredients. One is tenacity, right? Like you want that thing like a dog with a bone. Like you're going to go after that thing and you're never going to give up. You're
Mm.
going to keep trying. You maybe fall flat on your face. Maybe you screw up. You're going to have ups and downs, twists and turns, but you never give up on it. You keep going after it. That's one part. And then the other part is you need surrender. And surrender is really, surrendering to the experience, the feelings that come up. It's like, oh, I failed. Oh, I'm a loser. I'm like, oh, okay. Heal that feeling of feeling like a loser. Like, let's let all that shit go. Fear of being rich. Like, oh, wow, I'm making a lot of money now. I feel weird about it. It's like all that stuff needs to get released. You have to surrender to the experience of life itself. You need to surrender because the experience of life is we live inside our emotions. We live inside this space where we're feeling feelings all the time. Hopefully, they're pleasant feeling, peaceful, blissful, joyful. Great to have all those feelings, but we also feel all the other feelings, and we have to be willing to feel those feelings. And the way out is through. When we're feeling uncomfortable stuff, most people try to suppress it. But what we needed to do is we need to go into it.
Mm.
And there's a great quote by Rumi, and it's the cure for the pain is in the pain. So the very thing we're avoiding and running from is the very thing we need to go into. And then that's how we resolve it. And there's a technique that I teach called the peace process, where you think of the thing that pushes your buttons. Oh, this person said this and thing to me. Or you think about being a millionaire, and it's like, does it only feel good to be a millionaire, or do you have some mixed feelings in there? If you've got mixed feelings in there, then you've got to figure out, okay, we got to resolve those feelings. And so if you have some negative feelings about the things you want, or negative feelings about the things you're afraid of, or whatever, you just think about the negative, you think the thought, and you notice where in your body you feel that feeling, and you put your finger on the most intense part and you just stay with it. And it might move, it might disappear in one area, pop up somewhere else, but you just keep going through it. And when you think it's resolved, you think about it again, see if there's still some more. If there's still more, just keep doing it. If you can imagine it and it freaks you out, and then you heal it and you imagine it and you feel totally peaceful, 99 times out of 100, it's fully resolved. I always say the proof is in the pudding. Go actually test it in the real world. But usually, if you can imagine it and it freaks you out, and then you heal it, and you imagine it and you feel fine, it's usually it's handled.
It does work. I have firsthand experience using the peace process. It's really powerful. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And they should definitely go to your event to go through it because being guided is a lot more powerful.
Yeah, total time transformation. But I'll share another resource too. There's if you go to peaceprocessnow.com, there's a tutorial site. You can go there. There's video tutorial. There's audio that you can listen to me basically walking you through the peace process. You can just play that audio, and there's a PDF with all the steps for how to do the peace process.
Nice. Awesome. I'll put that down there too. I'm looking it up right now on the website. Nice. Cool. There it is.
Yeah.
Amazing. And also back here next to my wall of legendary books, I have your book too. Abundance Unleashed that you gave me
There
the
it
other day.
is.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes.
I love that you well, there's a lot of great things, right? But two things that stick out when you're talking earlier about abundance and the mindset stuff, saying, thank God I'm rich.
Yes. Yeah. Um, I got a piece of that from my buddy Derek, and we were and doing. I was hosting a mastermind in Sedona a few years back many years back now, actually. And he was talking about he had this experience where he paid for something or got charged for something, and he was like, and he just said, "Well, it's a good thing I'm rich," to this person at the wherever it was, whatever. And I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "That's so badass to own that. Say I'm rich." And I was like, and so that hit me, and I was like, while we were in Sedona, I'm like, I'm thinking, okay, anytime I learn something, I try to immediately put it into practice.
Mm.
So we were in Sedona and I was shopping for crystals and I wanted to buy some giant crystals for my new home in San Diego at the time. We were just about to close on this new construction, beautiful home. And so I was looking for crystals and I was buying crystals from this one shop and the lady was like, "Oh, if you pay cash, then you could just buy it and you don't have to pay the state sales tax and you'll save like because on a big purchase that adds up." And I'm like, "Well, I don't have cash." I'm like, "All I have is the credit card." And she's like, "Ah, that's too bad. It's because it's this however much more." And I was like, "Well, thank God I'm rich," you know. And I could tell the way that she was like, "Whoa, whoa," like. But saying "thank God I'm rich" just felt even better because I'm like, it is like two things there's two parts of it. One is thank God, and the other is I'm rich. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You know, I'm way richer now than I was when I said thank God I'm rich. But the truth is, we're all richer than the richest kings 2, 3, 400 years ago. Like they didn't have indoor plumbing, running water, hot showers, electricity, internet, Zoom calls, smartphones, heat, grocery stores that have food from all over the world. Like we are so rich and we need to appreciate it. I believe if you're alive, you're rich because if somebody was to offer you $10 million, but you're not going to wake up tomorrow morning, most, 99% of people are not going to take that, right? Unless they're like, "Oh, I'm about to die anyway and I'm old. Well, I'll get the 10 million and I'll leave it to my family or something." But other than that, like you're not going to trade one more day, you're not going to trade the rest of your life for $10 million. So that means being alive today was worth more than $10 million. Right. So I think that being alive means you're rich. So if you take on the identity of being rich, you're much more likely to create a reality of being rich because otherwise you're going to have a default. What is your default? "Oh, I'm middle class or I'm poor." You
Mhm.
know, no, you want to build in the identity of I'm rich. Thank God I'm rich. It's good. It's just as true as saying, "Thank God I'm alive." Thank God I'm rich. If I'm alive, I'm rich. And even if it's not like in money, it's in potential because we have another day, which means we have another chapter to write. And there's the story's not all over yet. So we're rich with potential to have lots of money.
Absolutely. It reminds me of sometimes if I lose my fitness levels, if I'm traveling or eating a bunch of like if I go to Europe and Italy, eat a bunch of pizza and gelato, the before I actually get like lean and fit again to like my standard, I actually just feel it first and then it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you want to take it on.
Yep. I love the exercise too that you taught me about saying thank you in advance for things that you want to create in your life. That's powerful. I still do that every day.
Yes. The in the book, I talk about prayers of abundance. Most people pray in lack. "Oh, please, I need some money, God," or "Please, he's sick. Please do we're lack, lack, lack." And lack prayers, I don't think are as nowhere near as powerful. I think abundance prayers are much more powerful. So yeah, if I say a prayer at lunch or something and I bless my food, I'll also say things like, thank you for thank you for the company here at the table. Thank you for this food. Thank you for our great health. Thank you for, all the people coming to my total time transformation event. Thank you for all the new customers joining and, signing up for Heal Your Money Shit Now. Thank you for the oceans and avalanches of abundance flowing into my life in ever increasing amounts. All the money, all the love, all the happiness. Just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. If you want a new car, oh, thank you for the new car. Thank you for the promotion. If it's like if you want a promotion, start thanking for the promotion. Thank you for the promotion. Thank you for the raise. Thank you, God, for helping make this possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just see it coming in, feel it coming in, feel the experience of it, and just being grateful for it. That is powerful. I think God answers those prayers much more
Mhm.
easily than even if it's somebody's health is challenged, and the difference between, oh, please help them versus thank you for helping them. Thank you for healing my nephew's cancer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, I think God answers those prayers more easily. And I think even if it wasn't God doing it, your own mind
Mm,
being grateful in advance, it's creating this energy of certainty and expectation and energetic flow.
totally. And you practice this, you live this, being grateful. It's cool to see that again when I'm around you. So you don't just talk this stuff, which is great. Yeah. And the other thing I love that you taught me was success is inevitable. The only mystery is time.
Yes, success is inevitable. There's a little caveat there. If you do the work, and
Yeah.
that's the work, internal work and external work, and you never give up, then success is inevitable.
Mm,
No way you can't become rich if you're absolutely focused on it and you do the work and you work on yourself and you stick with it. You're going to get there. There's no way you aren't going to get into great shape if you decide I'm going to be, an Adonis. I'm going to look like an athlete. Whatever the thing is, if you're absolutely committed to it, you take the steps and you work on yourself and you stick with it, you're going to get there. The only mystery is time. We don't know how long it's going to take. So it took me about in my business, it took me 4.5 years to get to $100,000 a year in my business. And then it took another 5 years after that to get to 1 million. Right. And now I have students where I teach people how to get clients. I've had students go from 0 to 6 figures in a matter of weeks. And I've had students go from 0 to $1 million in like 3 or 4 years. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. You don't know how long it's going to take. It took me 10 years to get my business to 1 million. It took some of these other people 3, 4 years to get to 1 million, but we're all getting there. We're all on this journey and we're all going to get there if you do the work and you work on yourself. That's a big if though, because a lot of people aren't willing to do the work and most people don't work on themselves very much.
yep. Absolutely. I love that. And let's shift gears to that, to actually doing the work and strategies on how to actually make money, right? So this first half was about mindset, abundance, all that. You're also very masterful at masterminds, high ticket sales, launches, building a business. So I'm going to ask you questions about that. Before I do, though, I'm going to tell people whoever DMs me first on Instagram about and wants a copy of this book, I'm going to send it to you. You got to be in America as long as Amazon ships it. So DM me on Instagram, say abundance, and I'll send you a copy of this book. So let's talk about making money, building a business, launches, high ticket sales. Where should we start with that? Let's pivot into that piece, right? Because you said you got to do the work. And so say someone is committed to doing the work, they want to
Yeah.
make more money. You have masterminds that people are you crush it with, right? People join your masterminds where they grow their businesses. So what's your first piece of advice for that?
Yeah. Well, if it's somebody who's a coach, consultant, author, healer, speaker, somebody in that realm, it's actually having a business is very simple and making money is very simple.
Mm,
And you don't need a big audience to make big money as a coach, consultant, author, healer. The 3-step process for getting clients is people hear about you, they have a free session with you, and then they hire you. So, we do all these things so people hear about us. We do social media, we do podcasts, we do networking. Like there's a lot of things you can do. But even from your own network, for people just getting started, or if you've been doing this for a while, but maybe haven't tapped into your network, you can make a free coaching session offer. And you want to do that in a very specific way. You want to make a free session that is enticing. So you want to name your session something like a free Finally Thin Forever coaching session, or a free Attract Your Soulmate Now coaching session,
Mm.
or a free Double Your Sales and Profits coaching session, right? Depending on what kind of coaching you do. And then you want to have three bullets. Three bullets are going to be something like create a crystal clear vision for the kind of man you'd like to attract and the kind of relationship you'd like to have together. Uncover hidden challenges that may be sabotaging your success with men in dating, and leave the session renewed, re-energized, and inspired to track the man of your dreams once and for all. Right? So you make a free session offer like that, people are going to want to have that session with you. Or if you're a business coach, you offer a Double Your Sales and Profits coaching session where we'll create a crystal clear vision for ultimate business success, or ultimate success in your business and in your life. We'll uncover hidden challenges that may be sabotaging your sales and marketing efforts. And you'll leave the session renewed, re-energized, and inspired to get your business growing faster and easier than ever before. To claim this session, if this is on social media, type yes below or DM me. If you have, if you're public speaking, if you're on a podcast, you can make it, you can offer a session and say, maybe a chance for you to win the session. Go to my website, opt in for this thing, and you get a chance to win the session, because you don't know how many people are going to, you can't necessarily promise to give unlimited free sessions depending on how many people are listening. But yeah, basically people hear about you. You make this offer for a free session. People say, yes, I want it. And then they have a session with you. And so, we teach a process called free sessions that sell, which teaches, what to say and do during a free session. So people will sign up right on the spot. Once you can get some one-on-one clients, then, you have a business. You can grow to 100,000 a year, $250,000 a year, potentially even up to $1 million a year, just doing one-on-one coaching or one-on-one coaching and group coaching. If you want to get even bigger, then you're probably going to need to, create a bigger audience. And that's where you maybe start offering online training programs. And I'm a big fan of people creating online training programs. I've created over 40 different online training programs over the years. And so then usually what we do is when we do a launch or promotion or a webinar where we sell that program, we'll usually give people a ticket to one of our live events, free ticket to one of the live events. It's free with the purchase, right? They buy the thing for $1,000, $2,000, whatever, and they get to come to the live event as well. And at the live event does most of the heavy lifting for, getting people into the mastermind. And so with the mastermind, when it comes to high end, I have an event called High End Selling Secrets where I, teach a lot of how to sell from stage and how to sell a mastermind and that kind of stuff. But some of the golden nuggets from that are, is work through all your stuff around making a high end offer. For me, making high end offers from stage, like I was so twisted up inside. I was like, oh, I can't do this. And I could sell one-on-one, I could sell on a webinar, but in front of a live audience in person, I just felt like I just had so many hangups. I can't even tell you how many I had. It took me years of healing to get through that. But once I did, all of a sudden, my business went from, a million, 1.3 million a year to the next year, 3.2 million year over year, from all of a sudden now being able to make these high-end offers. And then it kept growing from there. We made the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies in America 4 years in a row, grew the business to over 5 million a year. So,
That's amazing. You did the Inc. 5000 4 years in a row. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, doing it once is pretty amazing.
Once is amazing.
Yeah. The more times you do it, the harder it gets the next year, because you're competing against the growth that you did before. And it's hard, as a percentage of growth, it gets kind of trickier, so to go from 1 million to 3 million is a lot easier than to go from, anyway, it seems easier than to go from, 10 million to 30 million, I don't know, but
yep.
Anyway, yeah, so that was great. And a lot of that was because I let go of a lot of my hangups around the selling. But, we need one of the things, if you want to be good at high-end selling, high-end, making high-end offers, masterminds, VIP days for 100K, It's where people pay 100K to work with me for a single day. If you want to get good at all that stuff, one of the big things is you got to let go of your hangups about money, about fees, about charging, about yourself, about your value, about the value of the work that you do, about your clients. You got to, if you have fears that like, oh, no, people can't afford no, who's going to afford, nobody can afford this. If that's your thought, if you have that thought and feeling about it, you got to clean all that up.
Mm.
You got to get yourself feeling a level of certainty and confidence that this is a great program. It's worth the fees. People can afford it. It's worth it. People are going to get great results from it. It's the best thing people could do for themselves would be to join this program. Like you want to have those really rock solid, certain beliefs about what it is that you offer. And when you do have those rock solid, certain, beliefs and certainty in it, it becomes a lot easier to sell. If you have hangups about the sales process, like, oh, I don't want to feel pushy. I don't want people to think this. You want to clean all that stuff out. Now, I still don't want to be pushy, but I don't have a fear about being pushy because I just feel like, well, I'm not pushy. So why would anybody think I'm being pushy? I'm not pushy, Now, it's possible, when I do lots of events and I check in with the audience about how they feel about me making my offers, I'm like, did anybody here feel like it was being pushy? Because I don't think it was pushy. And most people don't. There might be like one or two people in the audience who think it was pushy, but then I'll check with the person I was making the offer to. I was like, did you feel like I was being pushy? Or somebody that was helping kind of overcome their objections or their fears. Like, did you feel like I was being pushy? And they're like, no, not at all. I felt like you were just trying to help me work through my shit so that I could make a decision. And so, yeah, I mean, it's possible some people might think I'm being pushy, but I don't have a fear around it, and I believe I'm not being pushy. So even if somebody has, and I just think if somebody does have that thought, like they have some weird, they have their own twisted up inside, like, oh God, that feels pushy because maybe they had a bad experience, and if we healed them, then they'd probably see it through it, the more true perspective. But I'm not worried about people thinking it pushy because I just know I'm not. So if people think it, then they think it. So that's the thing. It's like, I want to stand in people's greatness. I want to stand in people's possibilities. I want to stand for their goals and dreams and the highest version of the person I'm talking to. I want to stand for them. And I'm willing to be perceived however the hell people will perceive me in order to stay strong and help them get through the shit that's standing in the way of them making a great decision. Whether that decision's to move forward and buy or not, I'm okay. My job isn't to push people into a yes, especially at the high price point. You can't push somebody into buying $100,000 program, right? Nobody's going to spend $100,000, just because you were like, no, buy this,
Yeah.
they have to want it. They've got to want it anyway, right? They first have to feel like I want this thing. And then I'm just trying to like get all the crap out of the way that's standing in the way of them and joining the program that's going to help them, make the big transformations they want. I'm not trying to push somebody into something. I think of it as like the sport curling. I don't know if it's a Canadian sport, but they do it in the Olympics where they have this disc on the ice and they have somebody push the ice disc down, and they have all these sweepers that are like sweeping, they're trying to sweep some ice out of the way or whatever so that it glides smoothly right to where it needs to go. And that's the way I look at it. It's like I just want to sweep all that crap out of the way that's standing between them and their most powerful self that can make the most powerful decision for themselves. It doesn't have to be a yes. It's not always a yes. I work with so many people to help them heal through their shit of joining my programs. Some of them end up joining and some don't. I'm not mad at people if they don't sign up. I'm not mad at people if I take time with them and I try to help them to get to the point where they can make that decision. If they decide not to do it, I don't get mad at people for that. I just, I'm going to help as many people as I can get as clear as possible. And some people are going to join. I always know at my events, some people are going to join my programs.
Mm.
It may not, it may, or I don't know if it's going to be you or you or you or you, and whoever it is fine. I'm like, I'm not attached, but I know I have great stuff. I know I can help people, and everybody needs. If you want to sell high end stuff, you need to come from that place.
Yep. And it ties into your bigger vision, right? You're doing this to get the whole world coached and help more people.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I help coaches grow their businesses, coaches, consultants, authors, healers, speakers grow their businesses because they are going to be able to help more people. I can't coach 8 billion people. I mean, it's like one-on-one or group even. Like there's no Zoom line that holds 8 billion people. And not all 8 people want to grow a coaching business. Some people want to grow, lose weight. Some people want to find love. Some people want to grow some other kind of business. Some people want to do all kinds of things. And so there's somebody for everybody. And at any moment, somebody wants to make a big change, and they're not going to hire me. They're going to hire you or you or you or whoever else out there. So, as best as possible, if I can equip coaches with the ability to get lots of clients, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
In the early days of the coaching industry, people used to believe that we just need to educate the public on the power of coaching. And if we could do that, then coaches will be getting the coaching industry will be booming, and everybody will want to hire a coach just because we need to teach the public what coaching is and make them more aware of it. But I realized that it's not about coaches teaching the world about coaching. It's coaches learning what clients are looking for
Mm.
and aligning themselves and putting themselves in front of the wave that's already happening. It's like, okay, I'm going to help people lose weight. Okay, let me learn about why do people want to lose weight? What are their struggles with losing weight? What actually works to help them lose weight? Like let me become an expert on this thing. And then all these people who are already, starving for weight loss, you put yourself in front of them and talk to them in a way that you are speaking their language and making offers that they're excited about, even if they're really high-end offers that people are really excited about. Sometimes people want and need a high-end offer. That's another thing about high-end offers. Sometimes people want and need a high-end offer to take it seriously and to be willing to do the work. One of the problems with things that are easy to do is they're also easy not to do. So it's like, oh, if I join a weight loss program and it's free, yeah, okay, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. But if I join a weight loss program and it's 10 grand or 25 grand or $100,000, how much more likely are you to follow a program if you pay 100 grand for it versus if it's free? I think your commitment level is going to be much higher, even if it's the same program, right? Even if it's the same program, but you paid 100 grand for it. Like I'm taking that shit seriously. I'm not around. I'm not messing around. I gotta put a lot. I'm very invested in making this thing work. So, and I remember years ago, I was hiring a personal trainer. It was like, well, you could pay one session as you go, or you could buy a package of 5 sessions, or you could buy a package of 50 sessions. And the savings between a 5 session package and a 50 session package, the price per session wasn't very much, but I'm like, and I guarantee they're thinking, and probably a lot of people are like, well, I'll just do the middle package because that's where you seem to save the most per session. But I'm like, I'm buying the big package because I'm committed to this. I don't want to be screwing around. I ran out of sessions. Oh, okay, well, maybe I won't do this. And on the other side, sometimes people don't join your programs, not because of the price, but because they're afraid of the work they're going to have to do. Sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to join this program because shit, I'm going to have to starve myself or I'm going to have to give up chocolate, which may not be true. And those are other objections you can help people overcome. But a lot of it's not price. Sometimes people want to pay a lot because then they're more committed. And then also they feel like, well, if it costs more, it must be really good.
Yep. And I like what you say. For some people, no matter how cheap it is, it's too expensive. And for some people, no matter how expensive it is, they can pay for it. What do you normally say?
Yeah, yeah. No matter no matter how little you charge, there's people who can't afford it. And no matter how much you charge, there's people who can.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember in the early days of my coaching business when I wasn't even charging very much and people, no, I can't afford it. I'm like, well, what if I just coach you for free? Oh my God, I just don't even have the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, I can't find the time. I'm like, this is great. I appreciate it. But like, like, what the hell? I'm more committed to their change than they are, you know?
Yep. You also have a great book called Get Clients Today.
Yes. Yeah. And everybody can have a free copy of that book if they go to getclientstodaybook.com.
Nice. Thank you for that. I'll put that in the show notes also for everybody. So before we wrap up, one more question about you're great at masterminds, uh, building masterminds and launching them. Can you share a little bit about that, the power of it and the importance of them, or either joining them? I know you say you're in many masterminds now, but joining them, creating them, if you want to do that.
Yeah. Well, being in masterminds are really great. I remember being in forming some free masterminds and, way back in the day with like friends and stuff. Those were not as valuable. Not people were not, when people pay, they pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And the more they pay, the more they pay attention. And so, we had these, ragtag mastermind groups with friends and we try to help each other. And I didn't find that as valuable. When I started paying for masterminds, joining high-end masterminds, business masterminds, Tony's mastermind, doing all that stuff. It's like, okay, it's like the quality of the people in the group, because it's expensive, it's like people who are, again, it's people who are really committed to getting those big results. The benefit of creating a mastermind is that's where a lot of the profit is in your business. We have we have online programs that we sell for $2,000 or more or less, but we make most of the profit on our masterminds. So people buy the first thing, they're like, oh, I really like this. This was helpful. They come to one of the live events, they find out we have this mastermind. They're like, oh, the mastermind has, it's highly profitable for us, but we also create so much value. I think again, it's good to believe this, and I do believe it. I feel like our mastermind is second to none. Like what we offer in our mastermind, I've never seen any mastermind that offers as much value as we do, but we also charge a lot for it. And so for people who are committed, that's the mastermind for them. And so, we've helped people grow businesses from zero to, multiple millions of dollars in our mastermind. So, it's a great place to be. And there's so much help, so much support to make things so much easier. But it's not right for everybody also. And the same thing when everybody who thinks about creating their own mastermind, definitely do it. Join a mastermind, definitely join a high-end mastermind of some sort, because there's something about when you do it yourself, like, oh, I get it on a different level. One of the reasons why I think I became a successful coach is because I had hired my own coach because I was desperate for change. And so a lot of people get into coaching and because it's an opportunity, which it's a great one. But then they hire a coach because they're like, oh, my coaching school said I should hire a coach. So I hired a coach so they could learn coaching. But if you didn't really hire a coach because of your own need to make a big change, you don't quite understand the gravity of it, And, yes, and maybe I'm saying join a mastermind so you can see but if you're join a mastermind that's focused on helping you create the kind of results that you want, join a mastermind and then you'll learn like, okay, this is some of the value in it. It's the value of the people in it. These are other aspects of it that make it valuable. And then you create your own mastermind. And when you create your own mastermind, then you could make it an even better mastermind for your people than my mastermind is, my mastermind's for my people. So you're going to create a mastermind for your people, whether that's, if you're a weight loss group and maybe you have a weight loss mastermind or dating mastermind or a business mastermind for plumbers or whatever. It's like you're going to create something that's more valuable for that specific audience than mine is for that audience. Maybe, maybe not as valuable as mine is for my audience, but maybe.
Absolutely. Spot on. Yeah, I agree. And I totally agree with being a product of your product. I've had a coach for as long as I can remember, joining masterminds, right? Because then you could when you have that conviction and that firsthand experience, you're much more certain and congruent in what you're actually trying to share with other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. What's your final departing message for the audience?
Yeah. Um, you can do it. If you want it, you can have it. If you're willing to do the work, if you do the work, work on yourself, never give up, your success is inevitable. And you owe it to yourself to go after it because we're either growing or dying,
Mm,
and if you when you go after your goals, you're going to be challenged, and that challenge is going to grow you, and you're going to be forced to confront things and heal things. And if you aren't going after your goals, then you're going to be shrinking and dying and getting weaker, and you're still gonna, there's the pain. You're gonna have pain in your life no matter what. You're either gonna have a pain because you become weaker and life gets harder because you can no longer handle all of the difficult the regular things, day-to-day life, right? Or you're gonna push yourself to achieve goals and dreams, and that's gonna make you stronger. There's the challenge is still hard. Times when you fall flat on your face and you got to pick yourself back up, but between the two, I think like you're going to suffer way more if you don't go after your dreams. You're going to get smaller and weaker and you're going to suffer. And if you go after your dreams, there's pain, but it's not suffering.
mm.
It's pain, but it's growing pains and it makes you stronger. And it makes you, the stronger you get, the easier it is for you to handle everything in life. And it's
Yep.
it's way worth it because again, the time's going to go by no matter what. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, those years are going to go by, and either you're going to go by and you're going to be living your same crappy life, or they're going to go by and you're going to be living the life of your dreams.
Boom. Growing pains or shrinking pains, your
Yes,
choice. So people can find you on your website in
I would say
Instagram.
just go to, if you're a coach, go to getclientstodaybook.com.
Yep.
If you just want to learn about the peace process and healing, go to peaceprocessnow.com. If you want to become more productive and also get started on a rapid healing journey and rapid personal growth journey, go to totaltimetransformation.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Christian, for your generosity and sharing today.
My pleasure.